Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to spring, at least sort of. There's clouds, there's a little bit of mist, and it's trickling around 35 degrees, but spring sports are on the field, and that means it's time for North Metro TV and another spring season. Good evening once again. J.W. Cox alongside Gabe Glidden, and our first spring sport, high school boys lacrosse. Centennial and Andover just underway. We'll talk about some starters as Andover picks up the rock for the first time. We'll be joined in a moment by Gabe Glidden. Andover going left to right. Both these teams with one game under their belts, but for Centennial, Gabe, it's basically a partial game, as Coach Hadzinski was telling us just before this one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Neither of these teams have a very large sample size. The Centennial Cougars came in with what we learned from Coach Hadzinski was about 3 quarters, and it was a blizzard, so they called the game, and he also mentioned that they had about 1 hour of practice so far since April 1st, so neither team with much of a sample size to work with here at the beginning of the season.
We're at Centennial High School. Goalie Pat McGough with a quick save right there on Andover's first attack, and now his Centennial Cougars go back the other way. Away from him, it's McGough in goal. The attackers, Vamsel, that's Dylan Vamsel. He's a senior out there on the field to start. Derek Pearson as well at the attack position. Midfielders, Nick Peel, also a senior, could be a key. We'll talk about him a little more in a moment. McGough in goal, as we mentioned. Defense, Billy Conrad and Zach Habel. There's a shot that just clinks off for Centennial and back the other way, all the way across midfield with no stopping him for Centennial, and a quick shot right there off the stick of Jared McComber, one of the top defenders for Andover. Goes too long. So each team getting a couple of shots, feeling things out. And as Gabe mentioned, not a lot of time already on the turf as you check out that close call there underneath. A good pass and just off the inside post, as that was Nick Sell, the senior attacker for Centennial. Gabe mentioned not a lot of time for Centennial as we've got an Andover Husky down here early on. 10:29 to go in the first quarter. North Metro TV coverage of high school boys lacrosse as you look at the starters for Centennial. Famsel and Famsel, the brothers, one on defense and one the attacker. Gavin Core could be a key defender. McGough in goal. Then Nick Sell on the attack, as mentioned, along with Pearson. Jake Mack and Nick Peel will be at midfield. Billy Conrad, Zach Habel also holding down the defense with the long sticks as well, as we've got that Husky still down on the far side. Head coach Mike Hadzinski telling us just about one practice, but on the other side for Andover, Gabe, Coach Ken Weichel saying, you know, they were getting up early to do it, but they got themselves some practice indoors, so they have a little more of a feel for what their team might be like.
Yeah, they were getting up at 5:30 a.m. every day to go to practice, so a lot of dedication from those kids to wake up early. That gets tough for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets tough for everybody. The Huskies you see there. Ryan Olson in goal. He's a story as well that we'll touch on. Zach Blatz, the attacker, along with Nick Tollinger, one of the best attackers in the state. 43 goals to his credit last season. As Andover getting things underway. Andover won a sectional game. Will have a penalty upcoming. Andover won a sectional game last year, after both these teams finished tied with a conference record in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Both ended up trailing Champlain Park and Blaine, who both finished 8-1 in conference. They were tied for 4th, were the Cougars and the Huskies. Cougars lost in the first round of the sectionals. Andover took a win and then a loss. They beat Irondale in the opener and then lost to Blaine. Blaine, of course, finished 2nd in the section. Blaine again ranked this year headed into play. Champlain Park as well, both those teams in the top 15. Early play. McGough again, another save for Centennial. He'll sling it back out, and the Cougars will try and go back on the attack. A little mishandle at midfield, and it's poked away and loose. Andover quick to the ball, and there again is Jared McComber picking it up and taking it all the way into the offensive zone with that long stick. One pass off, goes right side, a fake, and again that foiled by the goalie McGough for Centennial. Should take a second look. Again, you see McComber not afraid to get in the offensive zone, Gabe, and then the shot just wild away.
Yeah, the shot coming from Tolbay, number 10, had a nice chance on the inside part of that net, just unable to put it in the back.
So a lot of time off to the right here as Andover and Black going left to right. A lot of time in their offensive zone, but so far McGough has been up to the task. He started last year at goal, played all 13 games, so his record in conference at the very least, the same has Centennial's record overall at 8-5. Save percentage just over 50%. He's 100% so far here today. No score, under 9 to go in the first quarter. Andover looking for the attack as Centennial sets up the defense, and the ball poked away. Good defense. They're on that far side. Looked like Jake Mack back there in the middle of things. And now the ball trails back as there's some substitutions on both sides. In towards the goal and across the net. Too wide and out of play. Centennial their chance as well.
Yeah, Centennial with their second pretty fair chance. They had the one go off the post. As most of the action here has been in the Centennial defensive side. It's good for them to get on this side to try and get some momentum built up.
8:29 to go here at Centennial High School. Maybe the only reason we're playing here today is the fact that they're on a turf field. And so Centennial and I guess Andover by proxy lucking out on that. A lot of fields not ready for play with the late spring that everybody knows we've had so far. Ball poked away, but still controlled up the floor. That's up the field by Sam Obert for Centennial. You might still catch some of the snow that's piled up still on the sides of this turf. But as long as you can stand a little bit of the chill and maybe some of the moisture, might as well get out and play lacrosse. Another attack from the right side. Quick double team on that far side. Trying to double up Peel. Peel gets it inside and finds the inside of the net. Centennial, they strike first here at home, and the Cougars, with the good attack led by Peel, will go up 1-0.
And Peel does a nice job. You can see he bounces off a couple of checks and throws the short hop, which is very popular in lacrosse. Just trying to short hop the goalie, and Olsen unable to come up with the save. So Peel gets Cougars their first goal of the game, coming at 7:41 in the first quarter.
So 1-0 Centennial. And
Scoring for Centennial,
Nick Peel,
number 25, Nick Peel.
It was on the mind of his coach, Mike Hudzinski, before this game, and we talked to him down on the field. And Coach Hudzinski was quite honest with us and said he doesn't really know what kind of team he has at this point, as we've already documented 1 hour of practice and 3/4 of a game. But he knew that Peel would have to be key, and so far, Nick Peel has the first goal of this one. Back the other way, Centennial already on the attack. And they'll slow it up and wait for an opening. Centennial could be defensive. They let it get away there. And Andover takes it right back on the misplay.
And yeah, as we were saying, talking to both coaches before the games, Coach Weichel had talked to us about how he predicts his offensive side of the team should be fairly solid, with Coach Hudzinski commenting how their defense should be pretty solid.
Walzak drops the ball, takes a bit of a check. It's still loose, and finally Andover picks it up. That time it's Reese Tolbane taking it to the far side left. Ball goes across the front of the goal and slings out of bounds. Last year, Andover was one of the most up and down teams, certainly in the conference, if not in the state. There were just a lot of goals scored in their games. When it comes to goals allowed in conference and goals scored, it was 204 combined by the Huskies and their opponents. More than any other team with a winning record in the Northwest Suburban Conference last year. So they get up and down the turf. Centennial, about 90 goals scored last year. 90 goals allowed, about 87 scored. Lost it for a moment, but picked up out of the air by Brendan Nugent. And they reverse it to the far side, a whistle, and we'll come back the other way for Andover. So for Centennial to get the 1-goal lead with 6:24 to go here in the first. Have to gain a lot of confidence with that, knowing that they don't have quite the experience or even practice coming into this game that their opponents do. It's wild away from Andover behind the goal. McGough will clear it out. A little too strong on the clear all the way up to David McGough. On that far side, a fight for it, and it will stay in bounds. Andover able to scoop it up. Met at midfield, a hard check. Both players hit the turf. And the ball doesn't quite trickle out of bounds, so both these teams active to the ball. Centennial comes away with it. A nice split of the defense, but couldn't hang on. And instead it will stay with Centennial. See the swarming defense there, led by Nick Tollinger that time for Andover, that prolific goal scorer we talked about.
And also credit Minnie on that far side with the big check on the Andover midi.
Billy Conrad had it for a moment, flipped it over, but the penalty is going to bring it back to Andover. 1-0. Take a look at that action at midfield. Good work with the stick as that knocked Minnie down to the ground. Centennial kept it off of that play, but now Andover has it back. So early on, Andover spent some time in the offensive zone. Had a couple of close calls. McGough with 2 saves already. Ball slung in front of the net again. It's deflected away from McGough as he chases it towards the sideline and eventually out of bounds.
And that was Rock who just sent the shot wide of the net.
Calvin Rock, one of a number of seniors on this team. 10 total seniors on the roster for Andover. And again, those are guys that are coming back and ostensibly all had a part in that run to a sectional victory in the sectional second round last year. One big difference for Andover, Gabe, as we were talking with Coach Weichel, is in goal Ryan Olson, who has had one go past him already. We haven't said his name too much as far as saves, as that one's taken away right in front of the net by Andover. And back the other way comes Adam Wiechek. They get quickly in front of the net. A good spin around the defense for Andover. The attacker gets it inside again, and it's turned away by McGough. But Ryan Olson in goal, a junior, just his second year playing, and that time, though, McGough not equal to the task as it squirts by again. We get a ball that comes off a bounce, Gabe, and you mentioned that's popular because that's a lot harder to stop than pulling it out of the air with that goalie net.
Yeah, short hop, you know, it's tough ball to field in baseball, and as well, it's tough to field for a goalie in lacrosse. It is a popular shot. Sometimes you see goalies go to their knee and try and stop it with their body, which you got to be tough to be a lacrosse player.
And that was Tollinger, excuse me, getting that goal as he slings it right down past the inside of McGough. And Dollinger last year off an outstanding season, 43 goals, also had 25 assists. He gets the equalizer goal here today to tie it at 1, coming at the 4:46 mark. Centennial looking to scoop it up and maybe find a way to get a lead coming towards the second quarter. Might expect some lower scoring games here early on in the high school lacrosse season. A shot goes wide of Ryan Olson in goal.
That was Mack, number 18, sends the shot just wide of Olson, who, as you were saying, it's his second year playing, and he won the starting job this season.
It had been William Karstens, who's still on the roster as a senior for Andover. But it's Olson that won the job just by being flat-out outplaying Karstens, who did struggle at times last year. Save percentage hovering right around 40%. Centennial with control, looking to set things up on this near side through the hands of Nick Peel, who has the lone goal for Centennial. Met by Tollinger's goal. Substitution for Centennial as the ball's taken away in their offensive zone and poked up the field toward midfield. A fight for it there. Players hit the deck, and we're going to get a bump, and that's going to be coming back to Centennial. 1-1, 3:43 to go here in the first quarter on North Metro TV. J.W. Cox and Gabe Glidden. Everybody in high school spring sports, but especially lacrosse here, since that's the subject today, as we talk with Coach Hudzinski, saying it's about one other time that they've had this kind of late type start. And you just take a different approach and you do your work in game, and if that costs you a couple, well, that's the price you have to pay, and then figure out a way to peak at the right time, he said.
And yeah, and that's exactly right. I do feel kind of bad for the baseball and softball teams in high school. They haven't been able to play one game yet this season. So these two teams both on their second game, while the softball and baseball teams have yet to play one game.
And imagine golf might be even a little further off with the groundskeeping that could be involved there. But towards the end of the week, we've got a few more lacrosse matchups on turf fields that we're going to go after here on North Metro TV. But towards the end of the week, we might get that first break of weather that's going to let us really get in towards the schedule. Peel again. Very elusive behind the net. Slings it out in front. The shot is blocked right out of the stick. on that far side of Will Schwartz. And Centennial's going to keep it. Adam Wiechek, they're involved in the stop for Andover. Wiechek, a sophomore at the midfield position. So we talked about the 10 seniors on the Andover roster. But Coach Weichel saying there's going to be some young guys that's going to give it a good mix, and they're going to have to step up as well.
Yeah, in the pregame talk we had with him, he said he had a lot of seniors on the team and a lot of freshmen. So he's looking forward to watching some freshmen step up this season for him.
Bedstad into the game at the point, looking to receive the pass, and he does scoop it up there. Trickle it over to the right side. Very patient for Centennial. 2:10 to go in the quarter. We're tied at 1. Centennial got on the board first at the 7:41 mark. Peel with the goal, then Tollinger answered for Andover at the 4:46 mark. Quick moving game, but not a lot of back and forth, up and down each time the team gets control of the ball. Spend a little time in the offensive zone until they get that shot. Far side, it's Dylan Vamsel with it and lost it. Andover back the other way.
That's McComber on the far side, streaking up the field.
He's been the one in this game, Gabe, that has pushed the tempo. That time, his pass a little bit too short, and it's taken out of the air by a defenseman from the other side. He's taken down from behind, and then a big swing of the stick. And that's going to result in a push, and we'll come back the other way.
A little bit of
a lot of contact.
Extracurriculars after the check there.
So that was all clean as Conrad hit the deck, and then the other stick came in from that far side of Jared McComber trying to get it back after his errant pass. Right into the thick of things goes Brendan Nugent in front of the goal. Turns it back out with the pass. And they'll look to reset on that far side.
And I'm predicting Centennial will be fairly patient here with 1 minute left on the clock. No need to rush into a poor shot or a poor scoring chance. You want to take your time and try and set things up here, not give Andover another chance to streak down the field.
Attacking right side now around the goal goes Nick Sell. He'll skip it back out. That was a chance for Andover, still a chance as the ball was loose and free, but it's going to stay with Centennial with 47.9 to go. By the same token, we'll see how aggressive Andover wants to be. They might just pack it in front of their goalkeeper, Olsen, and settle for a 1-1 tie headed to the quarter break. Again, around the outside goes Sell. He's the senior attacker. Gets the shot on the bounce just wide off to the right-hand side of the goalie. It'll trickle out, but stay with Andover with 31 seconds to go. Excuse me. Stay with Centennial with 31 seconds to go.
And there's that all-popular short hop shot again.
Just offline. Peter Casanova into the game, and he's going to start with it to trigger it in. Left side of goal. He'll take it up towards the top of the zone, but fire it in quickly, and that was a good play. He had a cutter headed right for the net, and that was Brendan Nugent, the junior. Just couldn't connect and push it in. The defense there, Gage, just parted ways, and it was one-on-one for a split second.
Yeah, exactly. If Nugent would have caught that, he would have had an incredible chance to put the Cougars up 2-1 here with less than 14 seconds to go in the first period.
Andover with possession. They're going to push it up. Not a lot of passing here. 8 seconds to go. Have to try and get a shot away, and they do, but it's well wide with 5 seconds to go. And Andover, he'll get another shot at it. Stop the clock here, instating with 5. Now it's running with 3 around the net. And did that go in? At the last moment, it did. And Andover and the Huskies get a goal from Zach Blatz, the senior attacker, who wound his way around the outside. And it certainly looked like they said that went in. Haven't put it up on the scoreboard here, but the arms went up for the referee, and that could be a huge moment there as you just see Blatz for Andover taking it upon himself. He finds the plane of the goal and then just flings it over his shoulder. One bounce on the ground and into the back of the net. And that's a goal. It's 2-1 Andover right as time expires in the quarter.
And currently Blatch is having his stick checked. I think they're checking the depth of the pocket. Right now you can see the referees taking a quick look at it.
They immediately took it from him there. So that'd be interesting to see. But as it stands, 2-1, and the Centennial Cougars give up a goal at the very, very last moment. And Gabe, we mentioned it, Centennial was going to be very patient with it in the zone. And eventually at the very last moment, they didn't quite while away enough time there at the end to keep the ball out of the hands of Andover.
Yeah, that was exactly what I would predict Centennial did not want to happen. They had the ball in the Andover's possession. They had the ball on their offensive side, and they had about under a minute to go, and they couldn't quite, as you said, count off the clock far enough, and Andover doing a good job of getting up the field quickly and scoring, as you said, at the very last second.
So we'll go triple zeros on that goal for Zach Blatz. He's the second one for Andover as they take a 2-1 lead. They've scored the last 2 goals here on North Metro TV. It's J.W. Cox alongside Gabe Glidden with our first spring action, and it comes with the lacrosse match between the Huskies and Centennial out of the Northwest Suburban Conference. Peel got things started for Centennial at the 7:41 mark of that first quarter with a goal to make it 1-0. And then, as mentioned, the back-to-back goals starting with Tollinger at the 4:46 mark, tied it at 1, and then Blatz, with time expiring, just got it in with the over-the-shoulder try past Pat McGough. McGough gave in that first quarter was very good, save for the 2, obviously, that he didn't nab, but he had a lot of shots early on that he did turn away.
Yeah, he did a very nice job standing in net for the Cougars, and we have a low-scoring game. And as we said, without having many practices, we had predicted it might be a low-scoring game here early on in this lacrosse season.
Andover manages 4 goals in their first game against Blaine. And Blaine did put up 10, but both coaches seem to think that Blaine and the Bengals are going to be one of the teams to reckon with in the state, and specifically here in the Northwest Suburban. So second quarter action underway. 2-1 Andover has scored the last 2 goals to take the lead, and they pick it up off the draw. But a whistle is going to send us back the other way for Centennial. We switch sides, so now left to right in white goes Centennial. Led there by Nick Peel. As he'll wait, he scored the first goal. Hasn't been much offensive action for Centennial since. Had a golden opportunity late themselves that they just couldn't execute. And now a turnover in the offensive zone, and Andover comes back the other way. A bump on the stick as, again, Jared McComber never afraid with that long stick to take it all the way into the offensive zone. He passes it off. Surviving a check there is Kelvin Rock. But he did lose it eventually into a host of Centennial Cougars. One good quick pass out, and the ball is still loose, rolling past midfield. Scooped up by Andover again. So this is maybe some of that game that we were looking to see from Andover, up and down, taking it on the attack right to Centennial. There was a Husky right in front of the goal. That was Blatz, who just scored that last goal. Couldn't get the pass in. Blatz is just kind of roaming around, making circles around the goal, waiting for an opening with his teammates. Dylan Holt subs into the game, and on the run, he'll take it attacking on the right side.
And Andover doing a nice job here of being patient, trying to set things up, get their players where they need to be. They're going to try and go ahead and get a 3rd goal here to try and go up 2 early in the second quarter.
We talked about all the confidence that Centennial could gain from the 1-0 lead. Well, Andover kind of takes that right away. His left side, Holt's going to attack. Now he spins it back out. Very patient here for Andover. You can hear in the background the coaching staff calling out the plays, and then even telling them sometimes to just hit the reset button and do it again. Ball poked away for a moment from Tollinger. Tollinger avoiding a stick check, then got a push. There's 2 flags flying. Tollinger still has it, fires it towards the goal. And that'll whistle it dead. And we'll have the penalty coming against Centennial. So Tollinger, who has a goal in this game, dealing with the stick action. And that penalty against Gavin Core. So he'll be sitting. And Andover staying on the attack. Another quick shot for Blatz. And did that one go in? We wait for the signal. And it did. Another goal for Andover and another goal for Zach Blatz. His second coming here at the 9:38 mark in this second period.
Yeah, you're exactly right. From up here, it was a little tough. It looked like McGough might have had the ball stuck between his legs, or it looked like he possibly had the shot blocked. But you're going to see here on the replay, the ball does go in, and Blatt's doing a nice job putting the ball behind McGough. Excuse me.
Good feed by Tollinger there.
Andover.
And you have to think that with what Tollinger did last year, Gabe, scoring the 43 goals, he's going to be a known commodity for other teams, and that's going to open things up for guys like Blatz. And so far, he stormed right through those gates with 2 of the 3 goals so far for Andover.
And I think that's exactly what Coach Wyko was talking to us about before the game. He's looking for other players to step up, and you're exactly right. He said that Tollinger was a big goal scorer for them last year, and he's excited to see who's going to kind of help him out.
Again, Andover helping themselves out, picking up a loose ball dropped onto the turf by Centennial. And again, they go into the offensive zone. Tollinger had it for a moment, but then it's scooped up by Reese Tolbane. You can really see the Huskies, the patient attack. So attacking is always in the back of their mind, but they never want to go too quick. Another shot goes right up over the top of McGough. And that a deep, deep shot. And it's going to put Andover up 4-1.
And McGough was not happy with that one. He looked like he was right in front of it, ready for the shot. It almost looked like he tried to save it before the ball got there, if that makes sense. He just kind of jumped at it too soon. We'll get a look at it right here.
Walzak got pushed right as he was going down. You might have had a penalty coming off that at some point anyway, but it bounced right in front of him, and you mentioned it. Kind of hung in the air too long right over the top of his stick. And Joel Walzak, the junior, makes it 4-1 in favor of Andover here at the 8:57 mark. So 4 unanswered goals for Andover. 2 by Blatz, the first by Tollinger, and now 1 to cap it off by Walzak. Again, Andover wins the draw. So as much as they were in their offensive zone early in the first quarter, they've been right back there so far in this second, but now it's turned over. Some numbers coming back the other way. Into the offensive zone goes Nick Peel. Peel looking to get the attack, got it right in front of the net, shot missed. And the rebound still contained by Centennial. Another shot poked away by Olsen. A lot of action right in front of the net, pushing and shoving. And Andover finally comes away with the ball, and they'll sling it and clear it out themselves. They could have some numbers if they hurry coming back the other way.
And credit to Peel on that play. Really good pass of Amsel, just couldn't find the back of the net.
Right side, Wycheck looked to have a good feed, but just in and out of the stick of his teammate. And now fighting forward along the far in line. Andover's going to come away with it. That's Tolbane fighting on that side. Face guarded by Billy Conrad. Centennial trying to assert some dominance on this defensive side. The defense that could really be the key to them having a strong season. Oh, too wide on the pass, going back towards the front of the net for Andover. That's much like Centennial at that net at the end of the first period. First quarter, that is. Had a chance, but just couldn't contain it. Walzak again spinning with it, throws it away. Centennial with possession, moving quickly up the field. David McGough. Throw it once ahead. 3-on-2 plus the goalie, and then the flag comes flying. As the ball heads into the net, it is a goal and a penalty. And a good feed, but pounded in there by Derek Pearson.
Pearson really just taking a shot. You kind of have to do that when you're down. It's kind of like in hockey. When you're down in goals, you just kind of throw them on the net and hope they go in. And Pearson does a nice job of throwing around the net and getting it past goalie Olsen. Trying to get his team back in this game, down 2-4. 7:34 left to go. Plenty of time, as you can score a lot of goals in Lacrosse fairly quickly. But Centennial here needs to, I think, start doing a little bit better job on these face-offs. Andover's consistently winning them and taking the ball into Centennial's defensive zone. So we're going to look for Centennial to do a little bit better job in these face-offs for the rest of this quarter.
Derek Pearson taking advantage of a good feed that was right in front of the net for him. Pounded it in. He had 4 goals last season. 4 goals, 4 assists. Here he finds the net, and more importantly, perhaps, Gabe breaks up the 4 straight unanswered goals by Andover. Centennial has to feel a little bit better. Struggle to pick up the loose ball. Finally, it's just poked to midfield through the Andover defense once, but Andover and the Huskies do finally get control.
And this is kind of the game we had expected, I think, when we were talking to both coaches. Andover Coach Weichel saying they had a fairly strong offensive team, and Coach Hudzinski for the Cougars stating how they had a fairly solid defensive team.
Another goal, though, coming. That looked like McComber as he goes down quickly. I think he took a shot with a stick, and it is Jared McComber, so he gets credited with the goal, but he certainly paid the price. And just like that, that high-scoring offensive team coming back. Let's see if we can see what the stick might have done to McComber, and yeah, he caught it right across the front of his chest. Jake Mack trying to make the stop. Excuse me, that might have been Will Schwartz in there. And McComber went down in a heap, but I hope somebody told him his shot went all the way to the back of the net.
And a lot of credit to McComber so far in this game. We can see he's done a very good job of pushing the tempo, and you see him picking the ball up in the defensive side and streaking all the way down the field, almost untouched, and ran right there, as you said, found the back of the net, did take a big hit. However, the Andover Huskies find themselves up 5-3. Check that, 5-2, excuse me.
Jared McComber, no stranger to the back of the net. He was their top defender last year. But he also scored 3 goals, 72 ground balls scooped up. Highest on the team last year for McComber on the defensive end with that big stick. He's making his way back towards the defensive end, and I think he hit it exactly on the head, Gabe. We've seen that. That's been maybe the most consistent factor in this game. It's McComber. When he picks up the ball in the defensive end, he's not looking to pass. He's just looking to get it into the offensive zone. If it's there for him to score, good. But that way they at least have the chance at numbers.
Yeah, he likes to show off the wheels when he scoops up the ball. He runs pretty much the length of the field, and if he has a chance to shoot, he's not afraid to let it go.
Jake Clocker's into the game for Andover, and again, Tollinger, great pass around the back shoulder. And just nearly a goal again for Blatz. And you can see forming, I think, Gabe, those two trying to work in tandem. And that was a beautiful feed. Just couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, over the back shoulder. You said Blatz would have had another chance to put another goal up for Andover. Couldn't quite connect on the play, however.
Long pass ahead for Centennial. They do control. Second pass, though, a little errant. And that's taken away. Again, the defense pushing up for Andover. To midfield on one quick pass for Clockers. Clockers, he's all alone. It's 4-on-3 plus the goalie. As Clockers will slow it up left side. And Centennial gets that extra defender in there to even things up. Quick, hard shot. Stopped by McGough, but still loose and picked up by Andover. A great job by the Huskies there in the middle right in front of the net. That was Evan Olson to maintain possession. A shot there blocked away by Zach Blatz. And Centennial picks it up, and they'll sling it down. Good snag out of the air by Gavin Core. Slings it up, and just like that, 3-on-2 for Centennial right in front of the net. One extra pass on the bounce. Couldn't click it in. And a good job for Olsen to cover that up, and he got some help with a good clearing check as that ball was loose on the turf.
You can kind of see how this game has been working forward. The Huskies' offense is a little bit slower, methodical. They set things up and get things going. And as far as Centennial, most of the time they're kind of on a breakaway. They catch Andover sleeping and score some quick goals. We should be in for an exciting rest of the game, I'm hoping.
Centennial using the pass to get up the floor, up the turf that is. Whereas Andover ready to take it right up individually up the field. Centennial take over possession. Another long pass that crosses the field. Second pass puts him right into the zone, but lost in and out of the stick. Still loose, fought for. Andover had it for a moment, and that'll bring a whistle. And it's going to come back for Centennial, so a golden chance here. 4:48 to go. Cougars down 5-2. It was 4 unanswered goals for a 4-1 lead for Andover. And then Pearson found the net before McComber scored the goal. The defenseman getting the goal to make it 5-2. Centennial trying to be methodical that time, but an errant pass. They have to go pick it up, and it is Caleb Bedstad. Finds the handle and lost it again. Taken away by Drew Grottom. Look to turn it up the field, but it's taken away that time by the Cougars and Nick Peel. Peel scored the first goal of this game all the way back at the 7:41 mark of the first quarter. 4:05 here to go in the second. 5-2. We see some sunlight
I was just going to comment on that, if you see that over there.
Breaking, I think the sun's low enough now that it's sneaking under the clouds. A Centennial, a wide open chance, and then just turned away by Ryan Olson. That was Dylan Vamsel, who found a soft spot and had a clear sail at a shot. But Olson up to that task. 3:49 to go. Take a second look, and right there, all alone, nobody around in arm's length. And Vamsel, more so just a little bit wide than anything Olson did.
And Vamsel, that's he's had multiple chances out front. He's going to look to try and find that soft spot, as he's been doing for the most part in this game, to try and get the Cougars back into this game. 3:45 left to go.
Centennial still on the attack, maintaining possession. Quick pass, quick shot, and right to the back of the net. That time it was Jacob Heiling who found the net. Check it, Derek Pearson again. Pearson off the feed, and a big windup. You could tell it was coming, and he just forced it through. So Pearson's second goal comes here at the 3:41 mark.
Pearson showing off the big guns here, just lets one rip, and Olson wasn't quite quick enough for that one. Exactly what the Cougars needed late here in the second quarter. 3:41 left to go. Only down 2 now. Score 3-5.
So Pearson, another goal. He's the number 3 returner in goals scored from last year. As we mentioned, 4 last season. And now a Husky hits the deck, and a hold's going to be issued. Wycheck got tangled up. So he'll scoop it back up and walk it towards the offensive zone. Now he gets the whistle to go, and he'll jog. Met in a check, and he lost it and sluice again. Good check that time to bump it out by Zach Habel, junior defenseman. And he starts his team going back the other way. Pearson that time, a little bit of a low feed, couldn't scoop it up. Forces it deeper into the zone to his teammates, where Vamsel look to roll it just into the sunlight. Behind the goal is that far side of the field, and now off to our left in sun as well. Another shot in on the goal for Centennial, and they start to storm back. That time, the quick release and quick trigger by Nick Sell finds the goal, so 2 unanswered for Centennial this time, and they're just down by 1 at 5-4.
And Centennial getting almost exactly what they needed here late in the second quarter. As you say, only 3 left to go until halftime. Came back with 2 unanswered goals. Now only down 1, 4-5. Maybe the offense will pick up a little bit. You never know with this weather we've had. Neither team's many practices, as we've said, but both teams' offense is kind of finding a rhythm here late in the second quarter.
The last 2 goals, Gabe, we've seen not guys really running towards the net to get a real play set up and get you in space in front of the net. They've just been outstanding, long, hard shots by Pearson and Sell. It's a lot easier to set those up sometimes than it is to get that play moving to the net. 2:54 to go and a whistle.
It's one of my favorite hockey terms, with the snipe.
Right.
A couple snipes coming for Centennial.
And if you can do that in hockey as well, just like here in lacrosse, that's a major, major weapon to have. Centennial, after all that, they'll get it right back in their own zone.
Penalty Andover, number 28.
As you look at Peel, who scored the first goal, he puts it towards the net off a tip. And Peel recovers it again, right to the front. Pearson spins, throws it at the net, no good, and it will roll out of bounds. But it will stay with Centennial again. So both times, Gabe, when we've seen the teams have their runs, when Andover did it in the first quarter, really earlier in this quarter actually, and then now when Centennial's doing it, it's a lot of pressure in the offensive zone and not giving the other team even a breather. Pearson started to wind up, but I think he mishandled it in his stick. Eventually passed it away, and the shot goes wide. And Centennial will turn to Vamsel again to get the offense started.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It looked like Pearson was looking for the windup and maybe didn't like how the ball was sitting in his stick, so he elected to pass.
Again, Centennial starting out behind the net. One quick pass out in front. Pearson trying to shake the defense and took a big check and lost the ball. Great check that time. Looked like Grotham got in there with the stick to poke it loose. And now Andover trying to capitalize, but they lose it all the way far down the field.
And as we had mentioned about the sun, you wonder, it looks like the sun might be almost right in Olsen's eyes. The goalie for the Huskies, as you said, it might be low enough to where it doesn't affect him, but you wonder if that might have some effect later on in the game.
It's not bright enough for, it's not real providing a lot of warmth, but it's plenty bright out there to be right in the eyes. And now we're going to get a timeout with 1:58 to go. 5-4, the Cougars trying to make the comeback. As they allowed 4 unanswered goals, now they've scored 3 of the last 4 goals. With Pearson with 2 and Sell with 1 to go along with Peels in the first quarter.
Both Pearsons and Sell showing off the Rippers. Able to put it past goalie Olsen.
It'll be interesting to see, Gabe, how the coaches, what the conversation with the coach would be like. Now, even at this point in the game, even at the halfway mark, once we get this 1:58 off the clock, especially Coach Hudzinski, who came in not knowing really anything about his team. It'd be interesting to get his thoughts to see, you certainly feel like you have the players in Pearson, at the very least, and Sell, that you can see are going to fire it in there. And what they can do with their upcoming schedules. They've got Andover here today. And it doesn't get any easier as long as they can get these games in. Coon Rapids at Maple Grove, a couple of teams that haven't played themselves. So even though they're feeling themselves out early on, they have some time before they take on the Blaines later on the 8th of the 8th of May, and then Champlain Park on the 13th. They have some time to really hit that stride. And
yes, Centennial will have the advantage of having some game time in the next couple games. Not many teams having any games in. I'm not quite sure if the 2 upcoming games, if they've even played a game yet. Coon Rapids.
Maple Grove hasn't. Coon Rapids has. I misspoke there. They are 0-1. Maple Grove is yet to play. And a lot of those, they might get out of the way today with some of this first better weather, depending on what kind of turf they're playing on. And then certainly by the end of the week, hope a little more regularity would return to the schedule. Long shot that time. Bounds away with 1:40 to go. 5-4 Centennial. Trying to come all the way back, down by 1.
As that ball trails over a mound of snow in the corner.
Back in towards goal. The return pass came to Vamsel, who started the offensive attack. Couldn't hit it.
Vamsel with another good chance off the post.
You can tell the offense is going to go through him quite a bit. He has it on the right-hand side. That time slings it just wide to the right of Olsen with 1:20 to go. So really 3 straight chances now. Just missed for Centennial to try and tie this one up.
And Centennial in this last maybe 6 minutes or so has had a very productive offense. Now it's their turn to be a little methodical and a lot slower, and they're getting a lot of better scoring opportunities than previously in the game.
1:13 to go. Instead of the pass, a swing around the right post and a goal. That time for Centennial to knock it home. And Pearson again. What'd you call it, Gabe, a moment ago? One of those zingers right in there. That time he just got one step around. That's all he needed.
With the snipe.
Snipe. Put it right over the right shoulder of Olsen. And Pearson has scored 3 in this quarter. At the 1:10 mark to tie it up at 5. So let's see what Centennial can do. It was right as time expired in the first that they allowed a goal to Andover. And that was the first lead for Andover at 2-1. A stick brushed off. There is a late flag coming. Andover still with it. The shot on goal and in. Penalty notwithstanding. Adam Wycheck, the sophomore, takes it all the way. Took a stick to the face and a shove. Had a flag coming and still put it in the back of the net. And just like that, Andover comes back at the 1:06 mark to take a 6-5 lead.
And that's exactly what Andover needed. They needed a quick goal to get back ahead in this game. Close game, 5-6. I think that was another type of goal where McGough thought the ball was going to be coming at him a little faster than it did. It looked like he tried to make the save before the ball got to him. But Andover doing a nice job getting themselves back in the lead.
So still no lead since 1-0 for Centennial. They had those 4 unanswered to go down 4-1. Found their way all the way back at 5-5, now 6-5 on the quick Wycheck goal. Wycheck, 9 goals and 6 assists last season as just a freshman, so a very promising career off to a start. Andover wins the draw, and now a whistle. And I think we've got a timeout for Andover as they want to get things set. We mentioned it, Gabe. They make good of their last minute of play when it comes to quarters. They've already scored twice now under a minute in this game. 46 seconds here. 6-5. Centennial has to tune up that defense. This goal, the last goal that is, and this next chance upcoming, off of draws won by Andover. And you mentioned that in the first quarter, Gabe, that Centennial, if they could shore up winning those draws, they're at least going to give Andover a few less chances. Yeah,
Andover's done a phenomenal job in this second quarter on faceoffs. I don't believe Centennial has won very many, and that's something they're going to want to get straightened up here later on in this game, because now with under a minute left, Andover has the ball with a chance to set up, run some time off the clock, and maybe get another under a minute goal.
The beauty of it was, for the last 5 minutes or so for Centennial, they were having so many shots on goal that they weren't even having to worry about the faceoff so much. They were just keeping it in their own zone until they could finally get those goals slung across. So 46 seconds left. Andover with possession. McGoff's going to get back in goal. Had a good start to the game. A little rough at the early part of this quarter after giving up that goal as time expired at the end of the first. 3 goals in the first. 8 goals scored here in the second. And it's stolen right away. That's a big play for Centennial if they can keep it. And they do get it securely into the offensive zone for Pearson. Pearson left side. Can they equalize with 30 seconds to go? Pearson keeps it over there but lost it. And now a flag. We'll see what the penalty is going to come up on. It's going to be a holding on Andover. And it's whistled on McComber. And he's going to come off the field.
The McComber matchup with Pearson on that far side.
It's a good one.
Would be a pretty good matchup. Both those players very aggressive. As you can see, Pearson, pretty good shot on him. McComber, one of the more aggressive players we've seen here in today's game so far.
Pretty good break for the Cougars to get him off the field for this final 22 seconds. One of their best defenders, whether it's aggressive or not. Vamsel has it behind net. Tries to sling it back, and the pass is too strong, so it's going to trail away, and maybe the biggest loss there is time, but they do lose possession. So 9 seconds to go. No way Centennial can be back on their heels, though. It was less than this, maybe with less field to go, but Andover did get into a scoring mode with under 8 seconds to go in that first. Clock is spinning. Ball goes back to Olsen behind the net. And he's just going to hold it up because there's no way to get down the field. So they'll be happy with a 1-goal lead. Centennial, though, has to be happy with some of their play in that second quarter as well. 6-5. The Cougars trail by 1. And Gabe, as we look to head to the second half of this game, it's pretty even though Andover's had some more of the time inside the practice time. Centennial has found their groove a couple of times and stayed right in it.
Yeah, Centennial doing a very nice job in that last part of that, the last half of that second quarter, I would say. Got their offense set up and made some good passes, had a lot of good scoring chances, and found the back of the net enough times to put themselves right back in this game. And even though I believe Andover would be leading time of possession right now, Centennial still doing a nice job fighting and staying in the game. Very close, 6-5.
That's how they did it. As we have halftime here at Centennial High School, the Cougars, they trailed, but they're definitely right in this game. The Andover Huskies leading it 6-5 over Centennial here on North Metro TV.
Also known for its delicious tasting pizza, made traditionally from the finest ingredients. Umbria Pizzeria will make you taste the difference, smell the love, and transport you to Italy.
La cena è pronta.
Dinner's ready.
You might even begin to feel like an Italian.
Delicioso.
Umbria Pizzeria, turning taste into memories.
If you need seamless gutters, whether the job is large or small, you can say,
I know a guy!
For your full service landscaping, you can say,
I know a guy!
If you need commercial or residential lawn care, you can say,
I know a guy!
I'm Charlie Walker, and if you need professional seamless gutters, landscaping, and lawn care, you can say, I know a guy!
In the nation, our agents are always there, helping make sure that when your life changes, your nationwide insurance coverage changes too. We put members first because we don't have shareholders. Join the nation where protection is personal.
Nationwide is on your side.
In Anoka County, contact Twin Cities Insurance Group, your nationwide insurance agent.
With gold at all-time high, take that rope and say bye-bye. Earrings, bracelets, rings, and chains. We buy gold at your exchange. Don't send your gold to someone strange. We buy gold at your exchange. Spring Lake Park, Fridley Blaine. We buy gold at your exchange.
Join Ben Hale every Friday on North Metro TV News.
Back with you at Centennial High School. Second half action here in the third quarter, and the Andover Huskies a 6-5 lead. They've had a stranglehold on the lead since it was 2-1. We had a 5-5 tie, and then Andover got a quick goal at the very end of the second quarter to make it 6-5. J.W. Cox, Gabe Glidden on North Metro TV. Our first broadcast of the spring with high school boys lacrosse. Andover and Centennial, a Northwest suburban matchup. And Gabe, before we went to that halftime break, you're talking time of possession has been very key in this game. It is on Andover's side probably at this point mostly, but when Centennial had their run at the end of the second quarter, scoring, well, it was 3 goals in a row and 4 of 5 goals there in the second quarter. They had the ball a lot in the offensive zone.
Yeah, their offense got set up. Very nice chances, a lot of streaking goals, and a lot of, my favorite term, the snipe, a lot of power shots, just throwing them on net, and a lot of them found the back of the net. As you said, 4 out of 5 did a very nice job to get themselves right back in this game. It's anybody's lacrosse game as of right now. 5-6, 10-56, a lot of time in this third quarter. We'll see what happens the rest of the way through.
Andover won a draw, and so they will have started with offensive possession. Centennial almost had it there, but the call goes the other way. And so Andover's going to keep it. They'll spin it around the outside. The big goal scorers, Wycheck scored the last for Andover. Pearson with a couple of those snipe shots for Centennial. Those deep shots about 15 yards plus away from the net. What we're talking about there, and just a wind-up and a fire. Only way to guard that, stay right in the hip pocket of that offensive player.
Our sun left us that we had briefly in the second quarter.
It's only going to get colder from here, Gabe. Right side with it, Andover. Trying to work that methodical offense. Centennial trying to be pushy quite literally on the defense. They pop the ball loose. It's still loose. And Centennial thought they had it for a moment, but it's picked right back up by Andover, and the Huskies are going to retain possession. So Pearson with 2 goals in that second quarter. McCulber, the defender for Andover, had a goal in which he basically took it coast to coast for taking a hard stick. Right as the goal went through, there's a shot that goes wide right side past the goalie McGough. Andover will still keep possession. Blatz with a pair of goals in that first half. Walzak with a goal as well. Shot off right side, tips off the stick of a Cougar. Still loose and finally controlled on the far side. And now let's see if Centennial can make their first push of this third quarter. 9:35 to go. They're down by 1. Pass cleared out to Nick Peel. He scored at the 7:41 mark of the first quarter to start this game off right for Centennial. But that's the only lead they've held at 1-0. Ball cycles around behind the net. In the hands of Pearson. Back out and they'll spin it around. Sam Olbert dropped it for a moment but picked it back up on this near side. Trying to spin around the defense. Now does slice right down the middle. Shot on net. Bounces too short and comes up the top post. And it's scooped up by Andover. Tipped on the toss out of goal. Right back into the action goes Centennial. They miss again on a point-blank shot. This time Andover will just run it right back out to midfield.
2 back-to-back chances for Centennial there. Obert with one and Vamsel with the other.
There's that name again.
Couldn't quite tie the game up.
Vamsel, a lot of point-blank looks for the attacker right up in front of the net. That time couldn't get it, so it's back into the hands of Andover.
And I believe that might have been his second or third one off the post so far in this game.
Reese Tolbane holding it on the near side, trying to find a hole. Instead, he'll just slow it up and sling it across field. Left side and a spin. Tollinger trying to run the offense. It's been Tollinger and Zach Blatz. At least in that first half, Tollinger had the first goal for Andover. And Blatz scored 2 in a row. Each has been quiet since. But plenty of action from their teammates. Tollinger with it now, surveying the field from behind the net. Looking to go to the goalie's right. Didn't quite get clear of the post as he's turned away and still yet to break the play. Now fires it up with the pass. Right side wing. Has it for Olsen. Olsen back to the left side. Pass is blocked away and picked up by Centennial, coming back the other way. Quick run out the left side. Nick Peel getting quickly up the floor. Bothered by the stick of a Husky. Gets right past it. One pass into the middle of the field. And it's too strong. Out of play, and Andover will take over.
And that was Peel streaking down the near side of the turf here. Doing a nice job to get past Rock, number 7. Took a nice hit from the stick, however.
Tanner Tolbane with the long stick this season. Coach Ken Weichel telling us he's moving him back there. The defense on paper might be something that would be pretty strong, but there's still a lot of question marks on that side. The guys that are moving around and changing positions. Centennial's going to come back with it as they scoop it just past midfield.
And there was McComber again, streaking upfield.
Far side, David McGough looking to attack on the right. Double teamed, shuffles off one defender and leaves it off behind him. Blatz make advance, so couldn't quite pick it up. And so Andover comes away with the ball. Up the left side, it's scooped up into the air, but out of bounds. And Centennial's going to get it right back. 6-5, no scoring so far here in the third. Last goal came with 56.8 seconds to go in the second. Wycheck scoring for Andover to give them back a 1-goal lead. Centennial is settled in. Brendan Nugent with it. Straight up the middle of the offensive zone. Now he clears it back out. It's in and out of the stick of Caleb Bedstad. But he tracked it down, now throws it away. Who is it again? Jake McComber takes it away, and you know he's just going to run it up the field. He's got 2 steps on the nearest defender. Trailing back, now a fake towards the middle of the field. Keeps it in his stick. And did finally eventually lose it out. Maybe waited too long on a pass there. Ball is loose, though, down on the turf. Centennial trying to pick it up. Andover desperately looking to keep it in the offensive zone. A couple of tips, still loose. Finally tracked down behind the goal by Centennial. Controlled and then popped back up.
And with McComber streaking down the field, credit to Obert there, put the body on him. Was able to knock the ball loose.
Zach Habel had it poked away once, had it poked away twice, and it's still loose, and then a stick comes flying. And I think we're going to get a Centennial penalty here. No, that time it's coming on Andover.
Penalty Centennial number 17, Zach Habel.
No, it is Centennial on Habel. Thought they said black 17, but no. Habel whistled for the stick, so Andover's going to keep it. And it's going to start off in the stick of Jake Clockers. Move around, one pass off to the left. In front of the net, Vamsel again. Another chance for Vamsel. I don't think he quite got the post that time. That was Tollinger. 22, not 2. Tollinger, a behind the back pass, popped up into the air. Controlled eventually by Centennial. In goal is McGough. He's trying to get rid of it. Finally does. Well deep behind the goal. And the ball's loose. McGough comes well out of net, still loose, and finally finds his way back, and he makes a save. Just tipping it away. Very dicey by McGough, getting about 10 yards in front of the goal, going after the loose ball.
That was Core. A little bit of a questionable decision, running out in the front of the middle of your net like that from behind. Lost the ball. Luckily, Centennial recovered, and McGough came way out of net, as you said.
McGough can't make the save that time, as that was a snipe on the other side for the Andover Huskies, as that's fired right in and through by Adam Wycheck. And Wycheck scores his second straight goal, and it's 2 unanswered now for Andover. And they take a 7-5 lead.
And another just power shot. Wycheck showing off the big guns, gets the snipe, which has been kind of the term of the last few goals. Coming in that late part of the second quarter and this middle part of the third quarter.
That might fit as well with the fact that these teams haven't had a whole lot of practice time to kind of develop that chemistry we talk about. It's a little tougher to make those moves to the front of the net and get kind of those clear shots in motion. And that's just going to take time and familiarity with the way your teammates are playing this season.
Yeah, and especially for the Centennial Cougar team, who has had 1 hour practice since April 1st, I believe that's what Coach Odzinski said.
And that one sneaks through. Another one. Just a big rear back and fire that time for Centennial. And the Cougars do get back on the board. David McGough, no, excuse me. It was Brendan Nugent. I'll make it Mack. Couldn't quite see that second number. Jake Mack.
And this game has turned into a little bit of a shootout. Another just let him rip kind of goal.
It was actually McGough who was credited here in stadium with it. We'll take another look. McGough coming from that near side, slings it down one hop past Olsen.
And we were right. It was number 11. That was McGough with the goal. There we go.
And so McGough gets Centennial back. 4:50 to go. Back within 1 at 7-6. As McGough is talking with the official on that far side as well. So another face-off for Centennial, and a big one here with 4:49 to go. So a long time. We went almost 7 minutes without a goal here in this third. Now we've had back-to-back goals in the span of 16 seconds. It's kicked away on the face-off and taken by Andover.
For as well as Centennial's offense has played so far in this last part of the second half, or excuse me, the second quarter, I would still like to see them win a few more face-offs. It seems like every time they score a goal, they give Andover a chance to get their offense set up in the face-off circle.
Time the ball taken out of the air by McGough in net. And he's going to trot up a few yards before he slings it towards midfield. Has the teammate wide open in stride. Right on the stick. One more pass right towards the goal and in. That's a play set up well. And the goal that time, and a quick point by Derek Pearson. He didn't have to wind up and snipe that one in. He got the great feed on the outside. And Pearson quick to recognize it. So at the 4:10 mark, we're tied up. So one long pass for McGough out of goal. And then his second pass right in front of the net. Couldn't quite tell who that was on the assist. Pearson able to burn it in there.
And Pearson doing a nice job of catching the ball and getting it out of the stick quickly. Didn't try and make any fancy moves. Just found a hole and hit the back of the net.
So our third tie of the game comes here at 7-7. Centennial hasn't had a lead since 1-0, and they do take the ball right back after losing the faceoff. Up the field. Taking a couple of blows, Sam Olbert goes right side. Now the Centennial offense will set up. 3:50 to go. Here in the third, and then another 12. That'll be the longest Centennial has gone, pending a blizzard that comes out of nowhere. That's what happened the last time they went to a fourth quarter. A whistle on the collision. Centennial will keep it. Right towards the goal on a quick strike and just off right-hand side for Brendan Nugent. Goes out and it's going to go to Andover. So Centennial has gotten here once before. After they took a 1-0 lead and had it tied, they tied it up at 5. Gave up a quick goal to Wycheck and Andover directly after that. And so Andover to go the length of the field. See Drew Mikulski coming off, nursing a little bit on that right leg. Taken away at midfield by Centennial. Again, a push absorbed up front, and then the pass goes wide out of the stick of Obert. But Centennial again has it with an attacking chance. Sling it back. On the jog into the middle of the defense goes Nick Peel. Fire it off right. Too strong. And it's going to stay with Centennial again. Vamsel's going to have to go track it down. I think they're running short. Ball's ready for play, so they're going to have to pick these one up. They've got a couple of bench players tracking down some on the outside as Vamsel comes back from his long journey.
It looks like we got one set up here on the near side. Far side, we might be struggling for a few minutes.
Vamsel does track it down and get it into play. So Centennial will take their time. 7:55 to go, tied at 7. Third quarter on North Metro TV. Spring sports now underway with boys lacrosse here on the air this evening. Ball back into the middle of the action for Nick Peel. Peel is going to draw a flag as he tried to spin through the defense. And I think that was Grotham. Check that. Grotham is just checking into the game. It's Dylan Holt who's checking out, and it's actually
number 23,
Drew Mikulski was whistled for the slashing penalty. He'll find his way into the penalty box. And now Centennial with 2:35 to go and possession. Let's see if they can find a way to score.
And no reason for Centennial to rush anything unless they have a fairly decent scoring chance.
Right side, the ball reverses around into the front of the net and then off the stick of a Cougar and out of bounds. And so they do try to get a look at that scoring chance. Can't convert, can't take care of the ball. And it looks like it's McComber. He's going to at least start off with it. He's looking to pass. And now into a jog, and he can get into a sprint real quick. Now spins away from a check. Lost it for a moment. The ball is loose, and he picks it right back up with that long stick. Spins away again from a check. McComber still has it at midfield. He takes it all the way to the offensive zone before slinging it up to the left. Now if he doesn't score, he's got to get all the way back on defense. Makes that long journey. Now gives way to another attacker. Ball cycles on that left side. That new attacker into the zone is Calvin Rock. 7-all, under 1:40 to go here in the third quarter. Change coming in. That's what Andover's waiting for. Centennial will change as well on the defensive side. Jake Clockers checks in for the Huskies. Slap of a stick. Tollinger runs right through it, slings it back out to his left. Clockers had it. It was poked away, still loose, and picked up by Centennial. Running, couldn't control it, but eventually the second Cougar there finds the handle and jogs it into the offensive zone with 1 minute to go in the third quarter. Tied at 7. Lower scoring than the second, just 4 goals here in this one. As the ball is wide and deep, Centennial will keep it. 2 goals for, it's just 3 goals here in this third. 1 for Wycheck and Andover, and then 2 McGough and Pearson getting the score for Centennial. Another shot bounces in, making a third goal for Centennial, and they take their first lead since the early moments of this game. And finally, Dylan Vamsel finds the back of the net after so many close calls, Gabe.
Yeah, so far in this game, Dylan Vamsel could have 3 or 4 more goals on the board here. Finally gets that first one, gets the ball under control, throws one on the net, takes the short hop approach, and is able to get it past the goalie Olsen of the Huskies. 45 seconds left to go. Here's where Centennial wants to try and win a face-off. and get the ball in their offensive zone. Don't want to give Andover a chance to get the ball in Centennial's defensive zone.
These two teams finished off last year directly even in the Northwest Suburban. Centennial at least pops the ball up. Nobody knows where it is, and the Cougars able to pounce on that.
And
34
that's exactly
seconds
what they
to go.
needed right there.
34 seconds left, and you can think that they might waste it all away here with an 8-7 lead, and at the very least go into the fourth and final quarter up by 1. Both these teams even last year, and so far they're starting off this season with a fairly even match here tonight. Coach Hudzinski has to be happy with what he has seen for the most part, especially with zero practice and not much of a game. 3 seconds left. Andover takes it away, and they'll fling it once up the field, and that's going to be it for the third quarter. 8-7. Centennial holds just their second lead of the game, scoring the final 3 goals of a 4-goal third quarter. And they have a 1-goal lead, Gabe Glidden, and it certainly looked pretty for Centennial a couple of times, and they finally did have some of those plays towards the net. Vamsel cashing in on the last, and then one of those long ones that Pearson was the beneficiary of a great pass.
Yeah, Centennial did a very nice job in that third quarter, able to get a lead, and we'll see what they do in the fourth quarter. A couple good scoring chances. They found the back of the net. Vamsel, I know he was looking for that. You could see when he scored, he kind of put his head down and almost said finally to himself, and I'm sure that was big for him. We'll see what happens in this fourth quarter. It should be close. I'm kind of glad we saw some goal scoring, and we were talking about how without many games played, we were wondering if it would be kind of a defensive struggle game, if the offenses would be able to get going, and it seems like they were able to work it out.
8-7, Centennial with the lead here at the quarter break on North Metro TV, and one more 12-minute quarter to go. And the Centennial Cougars here on their home turf trying to get their first win on their home turf and their first win overall. Their last game did end up being an official loss at Robbinsdale Armstrong. And that one was pretty close before the Blizzard wiped them out. They lost by just a single goal, so staying pretty close. Last season, they stayed close no matter what is on the season. They outscored their opponents by just a single goal, all said and done. There were a lot of higher scoring and lower scoring games for the Cougars, but they're going to be a team that for the most part are going to be right in it, and staying in it certainly helped them to get a chance now to win it here in the fourth. As for Andover, I think the plan is just the same for the Huskies as it was for Centennial when they were down. Find a way to win these face-offs and get the ball in your offensive zone.
And we'll see what happens. You'd hate for the Centennial team to get a quick goal and then lose a face-off and give up a quick goal to Andover. So we'll see. Centennial did a little better job in that third quarter of winning some face-offs. As we said, that last minute, they were able to win the face-off, not giving Andover a chance.
So it's 8-7 Centennial as we go to the fourth. And right off of the face-off, a whistle, and it's going to go to Andover. They started the scoring in the third at the 5:06 mark after a scoreless 7 minutes. Wycheck scored his second goal of the game to make it 7-5, and then it was 3 straight Centennial goals in that third quarter to take the lead. McGough, Pearson, and Vamsel. For Pearson, that was his third goal in that third period, as he had 2 coming in the prior period. That's that scoring in the third. 3 goals in the first and 4 goals in the third. And the big scoring second quarter for these two teams.
And I think in this fourth quarter, with the game being as close as it is, we'll see a lot more patient offense. I think both teams will want to try and get things set up and not make any mistakes. And you'll want to get in your offensive sets and get some plays run and try and get some solid scoring chances. You don't want to try and make any mistakes with the game this close.
Push is going to be called down the field on Calvin Rock. So that's going to put him in the box for 30 seconds as we're a minute gone in this fourth and final. Nobody's had a shot yet in this first minute. Centennial now with possession off of the penalty.
Penalty Andover, number 7, Calvin Rack.
So Pearson's going to start with it, well away from the net, winds and fires, and that one is strong, and it goes, well, they say no. It did not go off the stick, or did not go off the stick of a Husky, so it's going to be Husky ball. At that time, Pearson just a little wide with that sniper attempt. Jake McComber. Up the field he goes, gets to midfield, bobbled it for a moment, but picked it right back up. Still fighting with it, lost it for a second, now completely lost it, and in a battle. Right along the sideline, finally some space, and McComber lost his stick. Gavin Core dove right in there. It's always fun to watch the officiating in a lacrosse match. It's all kind of fluid, you know. You kind of start sometimes off the run, but as you could hear that time in that crowd mic, that was the issue that's going to bring us back. So Centennial keeps, but
somewhat soccer-ish.
Right. There's a lot of flow to it, and not for the most part. Once the call is made, the dead time's fairly short. And the ball poked away. Shoved down on a loose ball, and it's going to stay with Centennial after that. Nick Sell couldn't keep it. Quickly, Centennial with Sell. Excuse me. That time it was Peel. Spinning into the offensive zone. His pass poked away, but he tracks it down near midfield. We'll attack now on the left side. Centennial, they can afford to be patient. Up by 1 goal at 8-7. They've scored the last 3. It's kind of been a game of runs 2 different times. Centennial has scored 3 in a row, and it was a 4 straight goal attack by Andover in the first. Around the right side, pass goes just off right post, and Vamsel can't control. It's taken away by Andover, but stolen right back in a quick fire towards the net and in. So Centennial off the steal right away. It went right into the stick of Sam Olbert, and he didn't hesitate and flung it right into the net for Olbert.
Olbert does a great job of intercepting the pass from, I believe that was goalie Olsen. Intercepted the pass and let it one rip off the net. Here we go. We'll see it. Catches it, picks off the pass, and throws one on net. Exactly what he wants, what you want to do. Just get the ball towards the net, able to find the back. And the Centennial Cougars find themselves up 2 goals now, 9:34. They're going to want to try and build on this lead. And the Huskies now, which we've seen them be able to do for the most part, score a quick goal and get themselves right back in it.
So 9-7. That's the only multi-goal lead of the game for Centennial. Face-off, won for a moment by Andover, but still loose, and eventually taken away. Up the right side, looking to attack. Tollinger, and he throws it off the left side of the goalie, but Andover's going to keep it. It's just a perfect timing for Obert on that goal. He waits another split second. The defender is actually right there on him. As Blatz, with 2 back-to-back goals back in the first half, loses it away, and Centennial trying to capitalize, but it's taken away by McComber. Up the right side, he keeps it. He's always willing to keep it. Throws it down on a bounce and got it past the goalie and in. And once again, Jared McComber, the defender, comes back to score it. And again, he employs the bounce. McComber's 2nd goal of the game, and we're back to a 1-goal affair with 8:58 to go.
You know, it's kind of almost when the ball's in midfield and you say the Huskies are bringing it up, you almost want to say who else but Jared McComber. He seems to always have the ball in his stick, and in that chance, he threw it on the net, elected to try and skip one in there, and he got past the goalie. And as I said, the Huskies able to come back and score a quick goal. It's kind of been the theme of this game, other than the runs we kind of had in the first period and the second period. But as of late, both teams doing a nice job of keeping this one close in a fairly high-scoring affair.
It ends a 4-goal run unanswered for Centennial. Makes it 9-8 in favor of the Cougars still. And they'll take possession off the face-off. A big key for them. They have to come back and answer. They can't allow Andover to make a run right here. 8:35 and counting. As we're going to get a flag for, I believe, what might be a slashing with that stick. And it's going to be called on Zach Blatz. So Centennial's going to maintain possession after the penalty.
And check that the penalty is on Clockers, number 28.
Clockers down in the penalty box, and Centennial with 8:20 to go. Still can afford to be patient, trying to absorb the blow of that goal. Pearson slings it around right side, looking for Peel. Peel lost it away. And there's a big check for a loose ball, but that's going to be called. And that's going to be a penalty whistled on Centennial that time. And that one, Peter Casanova, pretty clear push. There's possession there. You see the Husky absorb the blow there as it was Drew Grotham heading down the field. He absorbed the first blow that was legal, and then Casanova came from that blind side, finished off the check, but gets whistled for the penalty at the 8-minute mark. So Andover, a running start into their offensive zone. Throw it towards the net and over the net. And it's going to come back for Centennial.
And Centennial now 7:56 left to go. It's going to try and exactly what you said, absorb some of that clock, build on this 1-goal lead. 1-goal lead is never safe, obviously. You always want to try and keep 2 goals ahead of the opponent if possible.
Ball loose near midfield. Centennial, though, can recover. Jake Mack spins it up towards midfield. One quick pass. Vamsel, right side, had it go right off his stick. That would have been a huge goal, as Gabe was just mentioning, for Centennial.
Credit to Pearson on that pass. Found Vamsel wide open, unable to quite connect from this angle. I couldn't quite tell if it was a little too far ahead of him. As you said, it might have went off the stick even, and he would have been all alone by himself right on this near side of the goal here.
Instead, Andover will take possession. One long pass out of goal for Olsen. Ball slings to the front of the Centennial net, and it's taken away. So the Cougars, a chance on a breakaway. The lead pass is scooped up by Core. Core going left side, and he slows it down. And you can hear from the coaching staff settling it down. They'll get a change as Sam Obert has it at the point. Change comes defensively. No, now into the offensive zone comes Nick Peel. Peel back to the right-hand side. Gets it right back, dropped it for a moment, but scooped it right up in the face of the defender. Peel running off to the right. Try and set things up from behind. Now gets around right side of the post. Quickly back to the left, into the front of the net. And too wide. Out towards the end line and through the end line. Andover will take over. 6:36 remaining. A 1-goal lead for Centennial. They scored 4 straight, 3 in the third and 1 to start the fourth, but Andover has the last goal to keep it at that slimmest of margins. 6:24 remaining. Back into the middle of the field for the Huskies as they go left side for Walzak.
And each possession becoming more and more important for both teams.
Good move for Tollinger to get to the inside and towards the net, but he lost it away. Able to scoop it back up. Going left, cut back, and a good one. Reversed his field again. Poking with that stick. Tollinger. Around a screen from his teammates, being very patient. He was their leading scorer last year. Had a hole for a moment, a flag's coming. Tollinger still has it in his stick. Now it's poked away.
It's going to be Core, number 3 with the slash. He'll spend 1 minute in the box.
Well away from the play, and you can tell that Andover, with under 6 minutes to go, wanting the ball in the stick of Tollinger. See if he can create something. It was Tollinger and that man you see right there, Zach Blatz, who were very effective in that first quarter. Blatz has it right and gets it in towards the goal, but it's saved by McGough. Somehow he kept that one from crossing the line, as that was Blatz again getting a chance at it. Now McGough looking for someone to clear it out to. Comes all the way 20 yards away from the net and finally does find somebody at midfield. Poked out of the stick of Pearson and picked up. That's McComber coming back the other way. Left side right down the hashes, spins it back out into the middle of the offensive zone. That's Tollinger. Tollinger quickly swarmed by 3 Cougar defenders. Down to the turf he goes and lost it away. Back the other way, Centennial comes with it. 4:48 to go. One quick pass up, not thinking of slowing it down. It's 3-on-3 in front of the net. And now they will spin it back out left side. Get things set. One bounce on the delivery behind the net. Coming up on 4:30 to go. Back and forth behind the net for Nick Sell. He's handled the ball a lot. Pearson, another long and deep shot. Too strong, but it's going to stay with Centennial. Exactly what they want here at the 4:21 mark, up by 1 goal.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier, it's possession becoming more and more important. Centennial wanting to get a 2-goal lead, and Andover trying to tie this game up. I think we're going to see both teams, if they're in their offensive sets, really take their time and slow it down unless they have something wide open.
Ball is loose and taken away by Andover. Wheeling up the right side with it, setting up 4-on-4 with the goaltender in net. Andover looking for a hole. The pass goes in front of the net, too strong. Loose and a race for it. Still tipped, still alive, still tipped back towards the net for Andover. And Centennial's goalie McGough will scoop it up. Looks to clear, and he does so across the field. Nearly in front of his own net, it's poked away. Centennial there. Tollinger fighting for that ball, and finally the Cougars will pick it up and secure. One long pass up, but too strong, and Andover will take it away. But a real danger zone there as now McComber comes back. It's a danger zone anytime it's in his stick. One pass to the front, one fire. McGough held it for a moment. Did he keep it out? And they say, no, he didn't. It's tied. McGough had it in his stick for a moment. He can't believe it. Pointing there, as you see, at the crossbar. And I think the official saying it went to the underside of the crossbar and in to tie it up.
McGough not happy with that call at all. From up here, it looked like it went in for the most part. And we're going to get a good look on it here in this replay.
A great pass in, and then a good slinging shot. And you see it tipped once, tipped twice, and it certainly looked like it broke the plane there. And then when it hit off that right side of goal post, it was on the inside.
So from up here, appeared to be a good goal for the Huskies. Good call by the officials. Ties the game up 9-9 with 2:58 left to go in the fourth quarter.
It's Calvin Rock there with the goal as he got the pass from McComber and then fired it in. So back-to-back goals now for Andover to come back and tie it up with 2:50 to go. Getting into that dicey territory. There's still a lot of time to score some goals, Gabe, but you might be where the next one that finds the back of the net could be the winner.
And yeah, that totally could happen. And Centennial losing the faceoff again now. 2:30 left to go. Andover's perfect chance to take a lot of time off this clock and score what could potentially be the winning goal.
So Andover's going to slow it up. Tollinger, the offense has been running through him with 2:15 to go. Slings it back out, poked away and stolen by Centennial. A golden chance now, looking for numbers 4-on-3. One quick pass into the zone, right back into the middle. A look at shot, it's on the ground, rolling in. Vamsel had a shot, couldn't get it to go. Ball's loose behind the net, and Centennial will track it down. They didn't quite get to it in time, but they will maintain possession with 2 minutes even to go, and Centennial now a chance in their offensive zone. That's a great play and a great steal up front as you get a second look at it. See, that's a second look at the near miss by Vamsel, just too short, as Andover takes it away. So Andover now with a key steal with 1:45 to go. They'll run it up into the offensive zone and try and set it up. It's coming right down to it with 1:40 to go here in our first match televised on North Metro TV of the spring. Tollinger, he'll receive the pass and back it out with 90 seconds left. Tied at 9, back-to-back goals for Andover. A long shot by Tollinger is turned away, and it goes off the stick of McGough and will stay with Andover with 1:24 to go.
Tollinger just letting one rip on that far side, pretty far shot. He shows off the cannon. I think, you know, one of the, as you said, top goal scorers last year, trying to get the lead for the Huskies.
Ball on the right side with him. It's the right side of the goalie. Now he attacks. Tried to throw it into the middle. He lost it for a moment. Centennial can scoop it up and keep it. Again, pushing it up is Gavin Corey. He had that big steal a moment ago. He lost it, put it on the turf. Still loose, rolling at midfield. Under a minute to go. Centennial couldn't maintain, so it goes back to Andover. In near the front of the net. The pass is stolen away by McGough, and he'll quickly swing it forward. Knows he doesn't have much time. 45 seconds left. Quickly up the floor for Centennial. Up the field, that is. Right side, and now Centennial, I think they either want to win it or go to overtime right here. They'll cycle it around back to the point. Centennial with 30 seconds to try and win this game. A drive on the inside. Peel slings it off right. Did it go in? It did. Peel with the goal on the right side. Nick Peel, as he put a bookend on this one, he scored the first goal. And with 27 seconds to go, he at the very least gives Centennial a lead with what could be the last goal.
Peel with the shot, elects to make a couple deep moves, throws the ball on net, finds the back of the net. Olsen looked like for a second he might have had it, and it rolls right past him. And now what Centennial does not want to do is lose the face-off here, which they have had a little bit of problems with so far in this game. You want to win this face-off so you can kind of put an exclamation stamp on this game.
It's still loose at midfield, taken away. Still loose, but into the zone of the Huskies. Flipped up into the air, up for grabs. Tollinger poked at it for a moment. Still loose, he's bumped down. And they're going to say it's Andover ball with 7 seconds to go. 7 seconds left. Andover has done this before. They scored with time running out in the first. They'll have to do it here. Tollinger lost it. Put it on the deck. 2 seconds left. Still on the deck. 1 second, and Centennial will survive. The Cougars score with 28 seconds remaining to win this one. Nick Peel puts a goal in to start it and puts a goal in to end it for the Cougars, who win it 10-9. And Gabe, just an outstanding game to start our coverage. You see the final there, 10-9, and the Cougars, they were down. They allowed those 4 straight goals in the first to go down 5-1, make it 4-1 at that point. But once they started to get into their offense and find a little rhythm, they never were out of this game and finally could push to the front.
Yeah, exactly as you said. At the beginning of the game, they struggled a little bit to get the offense going. Andover definitely dominated the time of possession in that beginning half. And Centennial, once they got their offensive sets going and getting some chances, had, both teams able to score. Centennial just getting that last goal. And as we said, it was Peel, I believe. We said number 25, Peel, gets that 10th goal for Centennial. They're going to get the win. An exciting game, back and forth. All game was a game of flows kind of at the beginning, and then in that fourth and third quarters, pretty much a 1-goal game from there on out.
Peel gets the winner, but 4 goals in between his 2 for Derek Pearson. An outstanding game for that young man. And we talked about the talent you can see off of his stick, those hard shots at the goal. And that was really the difference. Even when the Cougar offense wasn't working to perfection, they were getting those shots on goal and those shots on goal going in.
Yeah, Pearson as well as even Vamsel. I mean, if you think about it, Vamsel could have had, potentially another 2 goals in this game with 2 goals going off the post. So the Cougars' offense very solid, as well as Andover's.
Both teams now move to 1-1 overall and in conference. Next up for the Andover Huskies, they take on Champlain Park on the 29th, and then they will look at Coon Rapids, the next opponent for Centennial and the Cougars. So a 10-9, 1-goal nail-biter for the Centennial Cougars to get their first victory in their first game here at home. For everyone with North Metro TV, including my broadcast partner Gabe Glidden, I'm J.W. Cox. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.